So I know I'm not going to be able to finish this entire video in one sitting. I normally do that, but I actually have to be somewhere really soon. So I'm just going to do my base and like very basic minimal makeup, and then we'll come back once I'm back home and play with the new Pat McGrath eyeshadows and lippies. Although I will probably be throwing one on because I got my package late last night and I have been dying to play with it. So I took this Benefit Boing Concealer and I just hit the areas where I tend to have more darkness, which for me, you guys know, is usually around my eyes and the corners of my mouth, and everything else is fine. The reason why I did that is because I'm going to be using the Pat McGrath concealer and foundation today, and I find that the concealer just is a little too yellow and it doesn't necessarily add correction. So I'm going to take my foundation, which is M15, and I am going to just start applying it. This is really watery and I shook it. Man, my skin is going through it. I don't know why we're back at this again, but I've noticed it might be hormonal, I guess, because most of my breakouts are around my chin. I'm blending this out with my Juno & Co sponge. So when I don't have any tan, I find that this foundation is a little dark, which is fine with me. Right now I find that it looks best on my skin because it is closer to where I'm at. So like you guys saw that the insides of my cheeks, my forehead is a little bit darker, but the rest of it is pretty spot on. I was going to take another pump because I want a little bit more coverage on my cheeks, but I'm just gonna go in with my concealer. And this is it is a little darker actually. This is M16. This was a shade that I liked best. I returned, I think I had M16 and 15, and I decided to keep 16 because I felt that it had more of a peachy undertone than the other shade. All right, guys, so now I'm going to take my sponge and I'm just going to blend this concealer out. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't go in with extra foundation. This foundation is a solid medium coverage and it says that it's buildable, but I've never been able to really build it past a solid medium. And that was one of the issues that I had with the foundation when I first got it, because I wanted to be able to build coverage if I wanted to. I'm just going to blend these little edges out. But I find that with the concealer, I could get coverage in these areas that for me are more of my problem areas, which are my hyperpigmentation, sun damage, and using the concealer. And that was the thing, like I'm like, if it's this expensive, it should blah 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 blah. Girl, you knew it wasn't supposed to be that. I just remember getting this foundation with my friend because she has really dry skin, and I remember walking with her after they applied it and her skin just looked so good. And when they first put it on, I was like, no, because I thought that it just emphasized her texture. I'm taking a little bit of the concealer and then just cleaning up my brow because I was a little sloppy with it today. So the more we walked, the better it looked on her. And then eventually, like, her skin just looked so beautiful, so smooth, just like velvety. And I was like, well, damn, if it can do that to her skin, what will it do to mine? And I had already been playing with the shades because I was curious about it. So I knew that this was my match, and I went back with her to get hers and mine. And again, I was like, I'm gonna return it. This was when we were first quarantined, so I couldn't return it right away. And I was like, I'm gonna return it. I didn't use it for the longest time, and it just haunted me. And then as restrictions continued and intensified, I was like, oh hell no, you're stuck with it. So I used it and I loved it. For my powder, I'm going to be using my Laura Mercier Honey Translucent Powder. I love this so much. I'm so glad that she came out with the honey shade because I thought that the translucent was good, but until you find something that's like better, which in this case the shade for me is much better, you don't know what you're missing. And if you are like me and you're on the fence about this, get it. I knew as soon as I saw that she came out with a honey shade that I was going to get it, because I love her formula. And I'm like, and now it's going to be in a color that was specifically designed for medium to tan skin tones. Yes, I have to try it. It just adds like a brightness to your medium tan skin. Like, it's stunning. All right, guys, so I am back, and today we're going to be using the new Pat McGrath Mothership Rose Decadence. It's her little palette that she just released. And let me show you guys. These are the shades, and I'm wearing an olive green dress, so I'm going to try and keep it as neutral as possible. So I'm going to take Peach Dusk, which is this shade here. And I'll tell you guys that I've already primed my eyes with the MAC Paint Pot in Laying Low, and I applied a little bit of Studio Fix powder just to set it. So let's go in with this guy. I'm using a Royal and Langnickel brush. It's just a blending brush. I like these brushes are really soft. This is part of their natural hairline. And they're a really affordable line, guys. So if you're looking for great quality brushes that won't break your bank, check them out. This is such a beautiful color. So pretty. I'm gonna bring this down here. I don't know what I'm going to do to keep this as neutral as I possibly can, because I'm looking at these shades and I want to play with a few of them. I think we're just going to end up having to go for it. I'm going to take this Coastal Scents blending brush, and I'm going to go in with the shade Hedonistic Rose, which is the darker shade in this palette. And I'm going to just, yeah, this is pretty too. Wow. These are not very like rose tone shadows. These definitely have more of a purpley undertone, but again, I think she did a really nice job with this palette. And then I'm just going to take my blending brush. This color is stunning. I'm going to take Fuchsia Flame. So I went from like, I'm trying to keep this as neutral, to like, we're going all in. And I'm going to apply this with my finger. Oh my gosh. This reminds me of an orchid. Like these tones. The next shade I'm going to take is Golden Honey, which is this shade here. Look at how beautiful these shades are. Damn, this lady. Holy smokes. I am so glad that I did not take the neutral look, because these colors are stunning. I'm going to take the purple shade that we have in the middle, and I'm going to use that wet just to see what it looks like. It looks a little bit more vibrant, but not what I was expecting. Like, I was expecting this to be like a really intense, drastic look, and it didn't do that, which is fine because it's beautiful on its own. All right, guys, so this is what this is looking like, and I really love the way that this turned out. These colors are beautiful. So I feel like with this palette, if she comes out with another Rose Decadence palette, I'm not getting it. Like, I'm not. These colors I feel like are what are lacking in both the Divine Rose 1 and 2 palette, like I feel like this finally completes it and there's no need to add anything else. So I'm going to take some of my Dark Star mascara. I only did not even a full coat this morning. I needed to run out, and I want to make sure that my lashes are where I like them to be. Alright guys, so I just went ahead and applied my Cover FX bronzer, and now I'm going to take this blush by MAC in No Shame. It looks like this. It is a beautiful bright pink shade, and I am going to use another Royal and Langnickel brush and just apply that to my cheeks. So in her collection, she not only released this palette, but she also released some lip liners and some balm-like lipsticks. So I'm going to show you guys, I picked up 2 liners. I really love her liners. And this is what the packaging looks like. Really beautiful, bright, bold cartridges. They come with her sharpener, which is something that I appreciate. But let me show you guys what the shades look like. So the first shade I have here is Structure. It's a nude, of course, right? And that is what it looks like. It's a standard Gabi nude. The second one is called Half Naked, and this is more of like a gray tone nude. I think I'm gonna go in with, I think I'm gonna have to pass on using the liners, to be honest with you guys, because I picked up her balms in the bright collection. So she has like a set of the nude colors, and then she has the brights, and I went with the brights because most of the colors in this collection were the ones that I wanted to get. And I think there's like 1 or 2 in the nudes, and I'm like, let's just get the brights. So the first shade I have here is Love Interest. The packaging is beautiful. It is what you would expect from Pat, and it is beautiful. This one is a bright pink. I'm going to show you guys. As you guys can see, these guys pack a punch. They're not just like a balm. I already wore one of them, and I can tell you guys that it is so creamy and hydrating, and it feels like a luxurious lip balm. The other thing I'd like to note is that the lip liner and the lipstick or lip balm box is slightly different. It has the holder imprinted. This is where you would tie your little rope, which is pretty standard for her packaging, but this is actually just printed on the actual carton, and you just lift, and that's how you open the lipstick. The same goes for the lipstick. You don't have that holder imprinted there, but you open it up and you get your product. Okay, the other shade I have here is Boudoir Rose. Boudoir Rose? This is the one that I've worn. This looked like a really pretty corally pink. So beautiful. And the last shade I have is Electric Lotus. And these are lip shines, just so you guys know. But these are really creamy and pigmented. This looks like a red pink. So just based on this eye look, I think I'm going to go in with the first shade. I love this color. I'm not liking the way it looks with the lip. Let's try something else. I feel like these colors are going to be a little too bright for this eye look. I feel like this needs more of like a deep plummy shade. So I'm going to leave this on just to hydrate my lips, but I need to find something else. So I will be right back. All right, guys. So here is the final look. I ended up layering Lavish Lipstick by Pat McGrath on top of the lipstick or the lip balm I had on. This is what this color looks like. It is just a beautiful mauve brown shade, and I love the way that it just works and balances the eye look. I think it's just stunning. All right, guys, let's talk details. So the palette itself, I think, is a beautiful addition to the collection. I do think that enough is enough. And we have every possible shade that we need to make sure that we are pretty much set with the pinks and the purples. This palette is definitely different from Divine Rose 1 and 2 because this one tends to lean more plummy purple than it does pink. Like you guys can see on my lids that this looks more like a purple look versus a pink look. Whereas with the other palettes, you're definitely getting solid pinks. In terms of the packaging, I do like that now it's your traditional magnetic closure. It's simply one lid. You're not having to do that trifold thing, which didn't bother me, but I just prefer to have very sleek, easy to use packaging. And to be honest with you guys, I'm not a fan of having to wrap the string around the little holder because I find that for me, sometimes getting the string to go around like smoothly without denting it is a little hard. It is like a thin carton, so it doesn't really wear or hold very well. So I do appreciate this. In terms of like the design of the packaging, I would say that I'm not really a fan. I think it's too much, you know, and I know that Pat McGrath is like over the top and she is, you know, artistic and her packaging tends to be like really wow. But I just feel like this is, I hate to say it, but it looks like a cheap design. It doesn't look as thought out as some of her other packaging. I don't really care for the packaging, but we're not talking about the packaging, we're talking about the quality of the shadows. From what I saw today, these are very pigmented, they're smooth, they are definitely the Pat McGrath quality. She doesn't fall short in this arena, she never has. Like these shadows have always been beyond what you could ever expect. Like they are beautiful, pigmented, dramatic, buttery perfection. She really kills it when it comes to her formulation. Now, let's talk her lip balms. These are so good. So good. So again, the packaging is stunning. It is exactly what you would expect to get from her. I love that they're pink and that the lips are gold. They are definitely sleeker than her standard lipstick. I'll show you guys just for comparison. It is a really beautiful collection. Now, I have the Fenty, the lip glazes that she came out with, or the lipsticks that are like creamier. I would compare those to these, and what I will tell you is that the Fenty ones are good. I put it on, I'm like, wow, this is really good. I should have gotten these sooner. You know, I really liked it. It's sheer, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. These, I was expecting it to be along those same lines, but when I put these on and I saw how pigmented these were, I'm like, hell yes. And I'll tell you why. For the set of 3, it was $90. So that means that these guys were $30 a piece, okay? Typically her lipsticks are $38, and in some cases I think maybe even $40. But when you're paying that much and then you have it come off quickly or not wear as long or not feel like you have on $30 lip product, it's a little disappointing. But I told you guys that I put one of these on. I wore it when I was filming this video. I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta go. I turned the camera off, I threw one on, and I walked out the door. And I think because I was just in the moment of trying to get out of the house, I wasn't thinking about really, I had on a Pat McGrath lip glaze. Guys, it is so cushiony, hydrating. The palm, the pigmentation is just stunning, and then even as it wears, you're still getting this beautiful even wear, and then you get a stain at the end. So like, it's worth $30 because it's not like you're eating, you're talking, you're drinking, it's gone and there's nothing left. Like, this will leave you with something, and then on top of that, the hydration stays. Do you need to run out and get these? No, unless you are that person that likes that kind of lip product. So if you're going to go out and like say buy a Dior lip maximizer balm, you're better off getting these. And I'll tell you, I've used the Dior maximizer balm. I like it, but this feels richer. This feels more hydrating. What comes to mind is cushion. Like it just feels like you have, you know how like when you buy a pair of sneakers, like a good pair of sneakers, and you put them on and you're like, oh, this is what good sneakers feels like. That's exactly what this is. Like this is your more expensive, high quality sneaker with boost. You know, like these are fantastic. So I really like them. I think that if you're in the market to try her products and maybe you don't wear lipstick, but you want something from her lip line, this is beautiful. And I personally really like them. I didn't get her nudes because honestly, I had purchased a few of the Fenty ones in the nude shades, and they always look so like beigey and gray on my lips. Like they don't leave any kind of color behind. And I want to put something on my lips that just kind of gives me like a pop of color. I don't want it to wash me out. And even I tried mixing it with a liner and it just still looked like I had this really dark liner with a really milky finish. And so I was afraid that that's what her nude line would look like. I have to say that I'm really happy I picked up her bright set because that's where my heart leans. Like if I'm going to wear a balm or if I'm going to wear something that isn't a lipstick, I love something that's going to give me a little bit of a pop of flush, you know? So I'm happy. As for her lip liners, I feel like Half Naked might be a little too muted for me. Like again, give me that gray finish. So with this one, I'd have to play with it a little bit more. But I have had some lipsticks that look like that and I always feel like they just wash me out. So it's just preference. Overall, I do love her lip liner formula. It is very long wearing. It stays in place. It's creamy. It's smooth. It's easy to blend. Like once they set, look, I want you guys to see. I'm literally like trying to wipe it off. Once it sets, it doesn't move. So I really love her lip liners and I highly encourage you guys to check them out if you are someone that enjoys lip liners. This has quickly become one of my favorite brands of lip liners. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Please be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I do upload 3 videos a week and I don't want you to miss any of them. Also, make sure to like this video. It does help my channel and I would really appreciate you guys showing me some support, which you already do, and I appreciate you guys beyond what I can say. And lastly, leave me a comment down below letting me know what your thoughts are on this collection. You guys know how I feel already, but I'd like to know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for spending time with me and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.